G'day guys and welcome back. So I'm just doing a quick test on the lm301's. I'm not doing anything like special. I'm not looking at input offset voltage, making sure compensation pins aren't, I don't know, like not working or like, going through every little fine looking cranny. All I'm doing is creating a midpoint rail. It's got plus 10 volts more. It's got 20 volts across here and a what do you call it, false ground, virtual ground point. And I've just tied the inputs together and I'm just referencing the negative input to the virtual ground and then just taking out the positive input to see if it goes negative. And I've also got it hooked up to my scope so I can see if it's oscillating. So that one's working. That one's working. I wouldn't be surprised if we only find one or two that don't work. That one's working. No oscillation on the scope either. So I'm just basically making sure that the two inputs go to the range that this is supposed to go to and that it's not doing weird shit on the scope, basically. Actually, this one looks a little bit funny on the scope. Oh no, it was just a loose connection. Alright. I had a feeling most of these would be good. Like I said, plus I've got one spare anyway, so yep, I am happy. Strange. I've only got 3 left and none of these have oscillated or done anything strange yet. Both the inputs seem to be working. And there's no oscillation going on. I'm sure one of these at least was dead. This one I'm testing right now, incidentally, was the one I had in my stash. This didn't come out the power supply. That one works too. There again, there were a few cooked Xenas and Xenas that were off. I don't even know if all the Xenas worked because I changed them all. So there's a chance that all of them worked and just one of them wasn't getting its power rail because of a Xena, you know. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Well, I've only got one left here. You gotta be shitting me. Oh, hold on. Is that loose wires? Yeah, it's loose wires. These all work. So none of them were gone. That's hilarious. That's bloody hilarious. Well, I might as well put my one, because it was a newer one. Oh, I forget the name of the company, but it's got the N, was it National Semiconductor? Yeah, National Semiconductor. lot of these companies aren't around anymore, so it's hard to remember them. Well, there's the 8 original ones, and they all seem to be working, no oscillation. They're flipping where they're supposed to between their rails. So, oh, that's that. I'll just pause the video, I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so here's the plan. I'm going to put them back in with the compensation capacitors. I do have some other op amps, but I've got a plentiful supply of any 5532s, OP27s, any 5534s, OP07s, LMC 6482s. They're not going to go in there. Neither are the OPA2134 PAs. But I've also got other op amps over there too in just about as plentiful amount. So there's no shortage of op amps in here. I've got so many different op amps. Like I'm just looking at another two drives. I've got CA3160 and CA3131, CA3130, and I don't even know. I think they're op amps too. I've got a few different ones. I'm gonna have to get the data sheets up and see what they are. But point being, I'm going to put those back in with the compensation capacitors, and then, like I said, just start trying to upgrade one section at a time instead of doing the whole lot. That way, if if I can get it working with the original ones, and we have fixed everything else in it, and we put the op amps back in, and it actually ends up being a fully functional power supply finally, then we start changing op amps. And then if something doesn't work, at least we know it's only the 2 or 1 or 4 that we just changed, not, the entire 8, for example. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe for the panel meters, I might just use something like lm301's because I'm not really fussed about slew rate to drive a panel meter. For the bit that's doing the work, if there's certain parts of the circuit that will only work with these, I'll leave those in. If there's other parts that I can get it to function, with better parts, then we'll do that. We'll just get in it whatever we can get in it to get it to work, because it doesn't seem... I'm going to try and call these people tomorrow and see if I can get a schematic for it, but I really can't be asked reverse engineering a board that just loops around in circles. It's just a nightmare, honestly. Because what you got to imagine is if you could sort of like stretch this out so there's like more gaps between the traces, and then stretch this a little bit less and lay this over the top of it, that's almost how it's laid out. It's sort of like one huge board, and they've split up into 2 on top of each other, and they've put all these pins in random spots to do that. So it's kind of hard for me to like envision it. You know what I mean? Like if you're working on something like one board's the power supply and one board's this, one board's that, it makes a lot more sense. But because this is the whole thing and it's like split up in 2 boards just looping around everywhere, I just really can't be bothered tracing it out. I would literally have to take a pen and paper, draw each board out, and then work out where all the interconnects go, and then sort of draw a bigger circuit on a bigger piece of paper so I can fit the 2 sort of overlaid on top of each other, if that makes sense. And then I'd be able to sit there and look at it and work it out. I'm not going to do that. I've got too much stuff to get on with. I've got really important stuff that I need to get done in here. Like I need to fix a multimeter, I need to fix amplifiers, build amplifiers, I need to build low noise amplifier, differential amplifiers. I've got so many things I need to do. I just need to get my power supplies all up. So yeah, I'm just gonna, I've spent enough time on it. Yeah, look, all the resistors and the capacitors and everything in there, everything's in, like, been upgraded except for the parts that are already really nice parts, like the perfectly matched old school 2N305s. None of this CDIL Indian rubbish, like proper old ones, and all the transistors that are in there are nice too. I'm happy with everything that's in there now. So if I can just sort the op amps out, I'll be happy, especially for something from the 70s. I thought this might have been late 70s, early 80s. From what I'm hearing from Tech, it seems it's from early 70s. So being that old, I mean, God, if I knew it was that old, I'd almost be happy just running on them, to be honest with you, in the first place. But yeah, so we'll get it going one way or another. It'll be better than what it was. How much better? Who knows? I mean, obviously it's got super accurate references for the current and pretty accurate references, 1%, 0.5% for the current and voltage, you know. And all the components in there, we've knocked out heaps of inductance, you know, added capacitance, dropped the ESR and everything that's important in that regard. I even put snubbers on the current shunts, you know, like it's going to have better performance than what it had. The main bulk caps are twice the size of what they used to be. You know, it's going to be great. The output caps are, you know, there's common mode network, better output caps at a low ESR. It's got lots of improvements already, so I think I'm just going to have to, you know, take it for what it is. If I can only get it to work with them, then I guess it'll just have to stay like that. If I can get it to work with them and some better ones, you know, that's great. If I can get it to work completely with better ones in the end, wonderful, even better. But yeah, it's gone on for long enough. I'm not a quitter, so I want to get this done. So that's my method of attack. So I'll sign off here, and I will see you guys in the next one. I'm going to start desoldering op amps now and refitting those and the polystyrene caps, and I've got to just sort of move a couple of traces around, because you know how I moved all the traces around for these op amps. It's not too much moving around really. Like I've already got the wires there, so yeah, it won't take long. I pretty much just got to fit the ones in there and just tack the wires on, tack my capacitors on, and that's it, you know. So I'm gonna get on with that and then come back and we'll see if it works. I'm not going to turn it on until I film it, so you guys get to see the excitement with me. And if it works, then I think I'll put it aside, because I've got all this stuff on the bench that's taking up space that I need to get done. And I think everyone probably wants to see something different too. I know I do. So I'll set it up somewhere on the bench here and use it as it is. And then probably after I've done the Yamaha amplifier, before I get back into my power supply I'm building, I'll have a fiddle around with this and see if I can get some better parts in it or not. And if I can, I can. If I can't, I can't. That will be it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.